A Stroll Down Memory Lane by Etched-in-Fire. Star Fox kept his helmet under his arm as he approached the automatic glass doors, a spray of cold air hitting his face as he entered the building. "Good afternoon, sir. How may I help you?"
I'm here to see General...
He had to stop himself. He's not a general anymore, is he? But it seems so wrong to call him anything else.
Cornelius Pepper.
Ah, just sign in on this sheet of paper. Had a lot of visitors this week. The corridors were a labyrinth of white glass and doors with small windows. 202A was lost among the hallway's many branches, but once Fox found himself there, he sighed with relief.
General?
He did not even try to correct himself this time.
Fox McCloud! Come here, son. It's good to see you.
I'm sorry I didn't come sooner, General.
I should have.
That's quite all right, my boy.
Cornelius Pepper gave a small wheezing chuckle.
You've been busy, I hear, what with helping our new general out.
Crystal and I are back together. We're living in Corneria City now, so we can come visit you anytime. She's going to start working for the mayor next week. She's been hard at work trying to get a job and settle in. I think we're both eager for our new start.
Well, I hoped you two stayed together. I can't remember what your little scuffle was about, but it seemed pointless to me.
The hound sniffed.
Everyone in the Lilat system knows you two belong together.
Fox's ears went back.
Yeah. I'm going to plead temporary insanity for brooding her off the team.
He chuckled, but it reeked with bitterness.
But everything's going to be great. Peppy's loving his new job. I know it wasn't easy trying to convince the rest of the Cornerian Council to put him in the job. But I think it was a good call. He's always had the planet's best interest at heart.
Peppy's a good fellow. So are you. They wanted you as general, you know.
Me?
Fox felt his fur stand on end, and he blinked back the shock.
Why me?
Why don't you tell me, hero of the Lilat system?
Pepper laughed.
But I know you, Fox, and that's why I protested the notion. You're not the type to bind yourself with, such responsibilities.
He gave a cough.
Besides, the seat is comfortable, but the stress isn't. It ages you.
Yeah, it's even graying poor Peppy's face.
Fox smirked.
But thanks. After the past year and a half...
He thought of Crystal and how he had upset her. He thought of how empty the great Fox 2 had felt when everyone had left. He thought of how alone he had felt when the angular blitz had begun.
I think it's for the best that I take it easy.
Well, sometimes you need just that. Sometimes I tell James that he should have done more to convince me to join his team.
What do you mean? You talked to my dad?
Fox asked the hound, head tilted to the side.
General Pepper, he's been dead for years.
There was confusion in the dog's eyes. For a moment, he seemed like a puppy, as though his chew toy had been taken away.
Right. What was I thinking?
Here.
Fox said, producing a cherry lollipop.
You used to eat these all the time when I was a kid. You'd even let me have some if I was good.
The memory put a smile on Fox's face, a stupid, nostalgic one he could not wipe away.
You were never good. What are you talking about? Always trying to fly your dad's R-wing and always sticking your nose into trouble.
Pepper huffed, but took the candy anyways.
You grew up to be a good fellow. Have I said that already? Well, as soon as my leg is mended, I'll be out of this hospital in a jiffy and back at HQ where I belong.
And there he goes again. Does he even know he'll be here for the rest of his life? The thought put tears back in Fox's eyes, but the ex-pilot tried his best to conceal his distraught state.
Right.
He couldn't bring himself to correct the poor hound.
Everyone misses you, General.
Not as much as I miss them. I need out of this bed, Star Fox. I feel like an old man.
You're not old.
Fox replied, trying to suppress the waves of emotion flowing through him.
You're just... hurt, is all. Everyone gets hurt.
Well, no wound has kept Cornelius Pepper down, and no wound ever will.
The old hound sucked on the lollipop thoughtfully.
You know, James, you're really looking at doing that mercenary group idea. I think I've come up with a name for it. You should call it Star Fox.
Fox flinched visibly.
I'll think about it. Hey, I've got to head home now. Gotta get dinner started. I'll be back here by next week. Okay, General Pepper?
He was crumbling on the spot. and the hound merely blinked at him, still toying with the candy in his mouth.
You look awfully sick, James. Maybe you should go home, lay down, and eat some soup,
the old hound said thoughtfully. Are you okay, Mr. McCloud? The porcupine lady asked him, concern in her voice.
Yes,
he said quietly.
I think I'll be okay.
He's very different, isn't he? The secretary said sadly. One moment he's his old self, the moment after he's locked in the past. Sometimes he asks to see James. Ha! I say sometimes. He asks every day. Someone found him a few days back, sobbing his heart out. He kept saying, "It's my fault. It's my fault." Over and over again. We were worried about him, so we had to sedate him. He had started to go volatile, and one of our doctors, something about him looking like a fellow we didn't like. A fellow named Pigma?
Pigmadinga! Sorry! Try it again!
Does that ring any bells to you?
You gonna leave that in?
All right, one more time. Something about him looking like a fellow he didn't like. A fellow named Pigma?
Happy.
Does that ring any bells to you? Fox felt his blood run cold. After all these years, have you blamed yourself for what happened to Dad? There was a lump in his throat so thick that it prevented him from uttering a word. He managed a simple bob of his head and tore his gaze away. He sent Dad on that mission, but that doesn't mean he knew what had been planned out. He couldn't have known.
I'll be back next week,
Fox said stiffly to the nurse before finding his way outside, letting the bright rays of lilac stroke his troubled face. Next week. Maybe the doctors will have figured something out by then. But something about that thought seemed far too optimistic.
Part 5 of the Fire of War series!